All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and should you go to work for a dealer? Now, this is a question I get a lot. I did a video a long time ago talking about the difference between various shops, but I figured it was time for a refresh. Advantages and disadvantages of going to work for a dealer. One of the things to remember is if you're just trying to get into this industry, a lot of dealerships will hire anybody off the street and start them out in their quick lane and train them. It's a great way to get into this industry without having to go to school. They will then sign you up for training classes and progress you in their system, eventually getting you on the line, fixing cars, not just doing maintenance. Dealers vary considerably in a lot of different ways, so I'm going to be speaking in a lot of generalizations. One of the nicest things about working in a dealership is you work on one, maybe a couple brands, so you become intimately familiar with that brand. You become a specialist. You work on Toyotas, you work on Volkswagens, you work on GM products. You get to know them extremely well. What that means is you're also extremely efficient at working on those cars. One of the great advantages of working at a dealership is just your intimate knowledge of the brand. A huge downside, and everybody agrees on this, it's a huge problem in this industry, is working on warranty, well, just straight up sucks. In the best of times, you may make a couple tenths in a job. The worst of times, you may lose hours doing warranty work. It really depends on the repair. If you know the shortcuts that other people have found, that unfortunately corporate has also found out about, that's one of the problems, is somebody finds a way to do something faster. As long as you're not cutting holes or cutting brackets, if you find a faster way to do something, like being able to take this out and sneak something out instead of taking the whole dash out. The problem is they usually update the labor without updating the service information. So that's one of the things that screws the aftermarket. Warranty time is going to kick you in the butt. Now, obviously, there's dealerships like Tesla that pay a little differently. Rivian pays differently as well. So those are options. Let's talk general things about working at a dealership. You're going to do a lot of waiters. There's no way around that. Everybody wants to wait. The dealerships have set up waiting rooms to facilitate that. You're going to work on waiters. Now, one of the things that also you're going to be pretty much counted on is warranty. Plenty of warranty work. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. You're pretty much always going to have a good amount of work available to you in warranty. Car comes in, it's here for an oil change. Oh, there's a warranty repair on this one and it applies. Let me get that quick little 6/10 doing that. Customer's still waiting. You can just knock it out. All you need is corporate approval. You don't need customer approval. Obviously, you've got recalls. Recalls can be a lot of money for dealer techs. Usually they're rushed out. Usually they pay somewhat decently. Let me rephrase that. Sometimes they pay good, other times not so much. But recalls are normally rushed out because it's a recall. So you may have a rash of doing the exact same job over and over again. You're literally a beta tester. By that I mean, car that nobody in the country has had that issue with, you get to try to figure it out. Obviously you've got the aftermarket go, I don't want to mess with this, so I'm going to send it to the dealer. So you're going to deal with those kind of things. Noise complaints, rattles, customer can't figure out how to use the Bluetooth, can't figure out how to use the radio. Lots of little stuff like that as well. So take that for what it's worth, and especially the higher end of line you go, the more rattle noise complaints are going to get, and they kind of want them fixed. You've got to deal with lemon laws. If a car's come back, depending on the state you live in, you can only have so many attempts at repairing it before it gets ugly. So that's a concern when it comes to working in a dealership. Atmosphere, just like any other business, is going to vary based on, where you work. Some shops will have huge favoritism problems. Some shops will have distribution problems. Some shops will work like well-oiled machines. it all comes down to the dealership you work at. And I can't stress that enough. Every dealership group is going to be different. And even multiple dealerships in that group will be different as well, you know, because they have different general managers. And speaking of general manager changes, everything can change. It's one of the worst things about that kind of group is like a general manager, you know, decides to move dealerships, gets fired, whatever, new manager comes in, all of a sudden your shop manager is different, parts manager is different, everything's different, including your pay plan. Dealerships are really good places to get started. I don't know how good they are overall to stay with. Dealership techs, I'm sure you're going to comment, but let me know what you think. The thing about it is, if you find a good dealership to work for, they're usually a good dealership unless something changes. You work for a bad dealership, it's going to suck. So, hope this video was helpful. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.